Fireworks and parades are just some of the festivities taking place throughout Independence Day. But the liberal media is claiming that Americans are struggling to find reasons to celebrate. It's so awful. A new headline from the New York Times, of course, don't you know, reads, "No sparklers for these folks." Quote, "Whether because of crowds, politics, or a loss of patriotism, some Americans are conflicted about celebrating the 4th of July." The Times outlines a New York woman's political qualms with celebrating the holiday. She told the outlet, quote, "Last summer, Roe versus Wade was overturned, and that really made me less inclined to celebrate." The article goes on to say that even if she wanted to celebrate, she would worry about the message it sent. Oh, brother. The Times also cites an Arkansas woman who took issue with fireworks, telling the Times, quote, "It's hard to tell the difference between guns and fireworks. And here there is always something on the news about a shooting or something, so it makes me nervous. They are also bad for the environment. They release a lot of toxic chemicals." And that Arkansas woman, whose name is Malaya Tapp, posted this on TikTok. Take a look.
4th of July is coming up, and as a controversial holiday, I would just like to remind everyone that it is okay to not celebrate or to take advantage of the festivities and use it to celebrate something else. I will probably go to a barbecue because those tend to be hosted by Black family or friends. And I see that as a time to come together and celebrate the fact that we are also still here despite America trying to get rid of us when they were trying to gain their independence.
Well, the New York Times elevated that confused young woman. It is not a controversial holiday. It just isn't, even if the New York Times says so. That is untrue. But this goes into, there's 2 points here, Joe. One is the nature of this being a push, what I would term a push story, is that it creates this narrative that is false. You know, you've got America is, you know, hundreds of millions of people. We love this holiday. We understand it. They choose, you know, Gen Zers, people from New York who are complaining about the heat of it. Some of this is post-pandemic, but this is about the media. You know, you look at this, and a lot of people are talking about this, that, you know, the New York Times says that this is now controversial. What does this say to you?
This is how the cake is baked. If we're teaching a class on bias in journalism, activism in journalism, that piece is exactly how it works. So whoever the writer was for the New York Times here basically said, all right, I have a narrative that I want to go with, but I need people we're going to portray as regular people that we're going to portray as this is indicative of how America is thinking in general on certain topics like July 4th, right? So they find Ms. Tapp because they see her TikTok video where she talks about, again, I'm not going to go to a barbecue, but, you know, I will go to one with my Black friends. She also talked about how she was going to go hang out with her Navajo Nation friends as well, right? So
a lot of virtue signaling.
Checks off every box and literally the definition of racism when you say, I'm only going to hang out with people of a certain color instead of the content of their character, or maybe they're just really cool to hang out with and they're halfway decent at beer pong. This isn't hard.
I don't think that this, it was a lack of awareness of the stereotypes that she was also perpetuating. I don't know where parents are. That's another issue, right? When it comes to family and the influence over young people, to maybe not have her put that up on TikTok. But they seem to not be getting the fact that with freedom, there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be things you disagree with. And that, in fact, is worth celebrating. And that she can even put up a TikTok and not expect to be arrested tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, the critical thinking element is completely absent from people who post like this. But I think the broader issue here is that we need to talk about Gen Z. And she cited one of the concerns about these 4th of July celebrations was fireworks are bad for the environment. Well, in 2021, Lancet did a study of 16 to 25-year-olds, 10,000 of them across the world, 10 different countries, and they found that over half of these young people think that humanity is doomed. So there's a prevailing nihilism.
Thanks, Greta.
Yeah, exactly. Among the younger generation that I think we have to contend with. I'm a millennial, so it's part of my charge, I think, to educate them and let them know that, yes, there could be some, you know, man-made changes on the environment, but again, we have the innovation, the ingenuity, the technology to contend with that as well. So I think it's a Gen Z issue. They are swimming in a toxic information environment propagated by these social media platforms.
That's what leads us perfectly to the issue, frankly, of our mental health crisis, which seems to be affecting younger people, and then the nature of their obsession and the worry about like toxic things, what's the environment's going to kill them. Doctor, what do you say?
Yeah, especially today, the 4th of July, I've never had a patient that came in with COPD or asthma or a heart attack because of the 4th of July fireworks.
Thank you.
Talk about climate, protection. What about those private jets who burn 5,000 gallons of fuel an hour? That's more than one person in a lifetime as far as their carbon footprint. But, I think looking at the mental well-being and the overall health of our country, it's good for us to get out, to explore, to look up at the sky and look at the beauty of the fireworks that symbolize what our founding fathers, the servicemen and women have done for us, for this country. It's good for our social awareness, our social being. We are creatures of human-to-human interaction, and it's important that we are communicating closely and bonding with one another. Otherwise, we will see anxiety, depression, again, post-traumatic stress, increased risks of suicide. We're seeing increased risk of younger students coming in to the emergency room with thoughts of suicide, of harming themselves and others. So we got to look at the big picture.
It seems like, Molly, the message from the left, one, they need to lighten up, but it really does rely on perpetual victimhood that then informs how they view every single thing that's happening in their lives, right? The Sturm and the Drang. It's like you just think nothing is going to be hopeful. You're out there all the time. Reporters, you don't have a choice. You got to get out there. You talk to people. What are you saying?
Oh, I love to hear these different perspectives. I find them fascinating. This particular video, this young woman, here we are on a Chinese-owned website criticizing this big American holiday that people go out and celebrate and have a wonderful time and are so grateful for their nation. And she can do that because this is America. This is like one of our fundamental things is she can get on here and criticize, and it's perfectly fine. And when we talk about the generational thing, I think you brought up a great point. I'm Gen X. We spent a lot of time getting yelled at to go outside, and we did. And there was no other choice. There was nothing else to do. You had to go outside. I think a lot when it comes to social media is everyone's posting. And so you feel an obligation to get on there, if you're younger perhaps, and join in whatever the conversation of the day is. You feel like you have to share that opinion, and then it can get picked up. And here we are all talking about
that
it.
poor girl.
So it does sometimes catch on, and it can have an effect and become part of the conversation, which could be wonderful. Here we are in election season. We'll see where all of this goes. It's always fascinating. But also being influenced by the people around you. So if you're on social media a lot, you're influenced by other people on social media. When I think about July 4th, I think about my grandparents. I had a grandfather that lived the longest, put out an American flag every day until he couldn't physically do it anymore, and then put up the American flag in the window to make sure it was always there. My grandfather served in World War II. And that's part of my soul and something that you try to pass on. So you just hope that you can pass something on to the next generation. And part of this patriotism and pride in America is hopefully part of that.
And we see that with TikTok, social contagions that, as we've seen, usually are not positive. That's a beautiful story for all of us.